The sight of baobab trees, an indication that you're now approaching the place called Lusitu, home to the famous Ng'ombe Ilede tourism site with just over 2,000 inhabitants whose occupation is primarily agriculture despite its harsh climatic conditions. Lusitu derives its name from the Lusitu River, which at some point of the year is prone to dryness or reduces into a stream.
Lusitu Irrigation Scheme is actually an irrigation project that has been developed by the Ministry of Agriculture through the Irrigation Development Support Project under the support from the World Bank. The scheme is located in the Chirundu district. It's actually downstream of the Kariba Dam, and it's located to the left bank of Zambezi River. It's about 15 kilometers from Chirundu district and 150 kilometers from Osaka.
Apart from Momboshi and Musakashi irrigation schemes, Lusitu is the third core site that was carefully selected to host the Irrigation Development Support Project. What are some of the features or reasons that could have prompted the selection of this location?
When the Irrigation Development Project started, as we are doing the initial studies, a number of sites were picked across the country. And out of those sites, Lusitu was among the three that were picked as the core sites or the Group 1 sites. The key factors we are looking at, number one, of course, is water. You can only do irrigation where there's adequate water. And if you look at Lusitu, we have the Zambezi River. I'm sure in the history of our country, we have never had the water that the water has dried there. It's only water levels which can go down. So there is adequate water to support the irrigation as long as we have put enough structures to tap the water from the river. The other things that we looked at, it was the productivity of the area. This time in terms of the soils. How are the soils? The soils are an important ingredient because we are talking about irrigation where you cultivate crops. So the soils in Lusitu were seen to be good and they can be able to support the crops that were proposed for that area. Specifically there, what we looked at is bananas, of course with other vegetables also. And the other things, the climatic factors in terms of the temperatures are good also for fruit trees. So those are some of the factors that were looked into in picking up Lusitu irrigation scheme. Of course, we can also talk about social acceptability of the scheme by the local people. That one is also very, very important.
Based in the valley of a drought-prone area of Chirundu district, Lusitu remained underdeveloped for a long time despite being just over 200 meters away from the mighty Zambezi River, Africa's fourth longest waterway. Smallholder farmers of Lusitu have been able to produce okra, tomatoes and bananas only through rain-fed agriculture. Currently at 95% completion, the Irrigation Development Support Project is about to bring change to the landscape of Lusitu.
Before the scheme started, the people, of course, were settled there in the normal village way, scattered across the area. But when the project started, it means that one, they had to surrender some land for the scheme. In doing so, it means those who are staying in those areas which were pre-marked for irrigation, they had to move out of the area to go and see and stay somewhere. They also had to leave maybe their traditional fields, and for that time they had to farm somewhere else so that the area that is marked for irrigation is developed for the purpose. Construction works, of course, started around 2016, somewhere there, and I must say that we had a bit of challenges here and there. Where we are now, the scheme, we can say is 95% complete. There are very few remaining works, and these works which are remaining are mostly in-field works. If you look at the scheme, the way it is divided into three tiers, there's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 3 is for the commercial purposes, that one is complete. Tier 2 is also complete. Actually, tier 1 and 2 is marked for bananas. So there, the water definitely can flow to those areas. Just a matter of connecting the the irrigation equipment required now to put the water in the field. For tier 1, we are almost done. What we need to do is to put up the import equipment for the farmers. The materials are already there on site, and we are looking for some contractors going to finish up the work. Very little work is remaining. So like I said, the tier 1 and 2 is ready for production. And as things are now for tier 2 specifically, there is a commercial entity which is already there in the name of Zambia National Services. They're already on the ground, and they're just preparing to bring the infield irrigation equipment so they can start cultivating bananas.
The smallholder farmers and community of Lusito are energized about the coming of the IDSP due to the government of the Republic of Zambia and its cooperating partners noticing their hard work and resilience.
Alimu akunyomene mwambuli bwajeje janda kuchitira so twabona wamba kuti chimuki debiya wajinde chino kambo kuti chachitira ndizenga jainda kuzwambuli wano mbochipede chimuki debiya kambo olotu nchito chitombo tukedewo busoto toba kukushine twire kwendenda ndizenga turajana milimo yako ta at least tujane obubotu wamba kuti kutegwa tuinde mbulipo tubede kusika walya
twalomba aba government balo bakatubambira twonse mapipe bakatubikira kale mainjini bakatubikira kale so tushede byo turindira byo menda uti batupe putushali direrino
kuno zichitikidwa kuno kwera na IDSP ndibona kuti zili kabotu nkambo twakazwa putakabede twakabalwiye lupati tutondeze kuti atuzwe putubede tunyamwe kwererana abulimi
tubamwi twakajanika mu matiazo omu bakatulonzya twakajanika tubamwi tuona mututungu bamwe bakatuona mutwanda tunini twabwizu so bakajanika mu matililumu twakajisima toilet twakajanika tuli mu toilet so ino putwendera ino mu project mwenoma luzibwa twalujata alwiyo tulinda bomenda kuti anjire amwe acheredwe bya kambo muri bulimi ngatwalima.
Productivity has generally been low at Lusito due to the inconsistency in rain, with the terrain that has slowly been transforming into a desert. The coming of a project that provides continuity with the supply of water, mainly for irrigation, however, may be the entrance to multiple production that might eventually lead to an upshift in the local economy.
Isebo kuti twenda kusiga wawa kambu tutalikira wawanzi awa chilimbulimbu tulima mukati muserero twalima mitezi tomato onioni cabbage dino toluganda kuti tulime tuzwa wawa putulima tomato ma mitezi twinke wawa tukwanise pya kupamba kuti ndiza kwa ma cooperative ali gaminine kwamba kuti ino mebonda ba cooperative ngiri mu cooperative yaso.
The coming of IDSP, I think they will change the situation that we have. The problems of water will change. They bought us some tanks, 10,000 tanks, which are going to be put to the settled people and the community at large.
Agulima ngadalima hipoga talima osambala mwenyoba ma vegetables osambala yakuzambala sambale hinji bwe hagulima lima mbuli hetu hikabotu bya ma vegetables hipoga mbuli hetu kwaniha ma banana ai tulakwaniha kosimpa uno tulalima kitulibambira kutalika kulima zintu zileta mali fast tulibambira tukalime mbuli chishango chituzikale ready mbuli muderere alimwi a green maize.
You know, when you look at Lusito, like many other areas, there's a river nearby, a lot of water. But then the rainfall pattern is very poor. That is in region 1, where you find made rainfall only for 2 months and then it's gone. As a result, the farmers are not able to productively cultivate their crops. There's millet grown there, a bit of sorghum, but then the productivity is very low because the rainfall is not enough. So with the introduction of irrigation, the idea is that the farmers are going to be able to irrigate off season. Tier 1 and 2 have said they are bananas, then tier 1 they can grow any crops. And apart from that, they can also do supplementary irrigation in the rain season, which means that when they cultivate their crops, maybe they introduce maize, whatever, if there's no rainfall, they can be able to supplement the crops with water. Because of this, it means they have multiple production of the crops. When you produce more crops, and then there's enough water, it means the productivity also goes high, the yields also increase, and then you're able to make more money. So expect that the local economy is going to be boosted. The other thing we have done as a project, we have not just taken the infrastructure there, we have also done what we call capacity building in terms of training. The farmers have been trained technically, of course, even how to manage themselves. There is what we call community land trust, which have been formed there, like a management team for the area. And then we have also user groups who will be in charge of the various groups that are irrigating. What I can say is that much as they are going to have the infrastructure, irrigation is business. Broadly, I can say farming is now business. It's not the usual thing we used to talk about. You just grow a crop, leave it, the rain feeds and so forth. It's business now.
The impact that climate change continues to have on our economies, agriculture and food production is in sync with the Zambian government's adaptation measures to climate change mitigation that include promotion of irrigation and efficient use of water resources, which requires support from all well-meaning citizens.
The infrastructure which IDSP brought to us is good, and our people, some of them, they had no toilets. But at this time, you'll find a toilet, a better house.
Atu beregera antu omwe agu ubereka janguzu gutegwa tulangire bubo tunatu janeji bo tujibola kumpela area penzi ndetwaka jisiri akainda litatu toberere gutegwa tulisi at least andisweko tubeko a change tunjane ko lusumpuko kambo basi kuyisika bakatuyisika kali zinji
tonse atuka bujenegwera na kuti tuli bana lusito irrigation mbuto chiyanda biyo chizvidilira chimugide byawa so in.
Most important is the sustainability of the scheme. That is very important. We have seen in Zambia most of the irrigation schemes, they have gone down. Why? Because they haven't been sustainable. A reason being that the users haven't been willing to pay for the service. There will be pumps running at Lusitu using electricity. There will be pumping, and then those pumps need to be maintained and repaired. Therefore, if farmers do not pay for the service, it means when there's a breakdown, nothing will be done. You just have to pack the whole system. So let the farmers conform to all the bylaws that are there. Let them pay for the use of the water. For them to be able to pay, let them produce productively. So it's actually conformity all the way and adhering to recommendations, technical recommendations.
Water harvesting and irrigation is our gateway into sustainable agriculture that will lead to changing the lives of our rural communities that may now be able to increase productivity due to availability of water throughout the year.